You're listening to the Jam Price Show, all about movies, and today my guest is award-winning director, writer, producer Gabe Polsky, and we're going to be talking about the man who saves the world. What a great topic that is, Gabe. Welcome
Yeah,
to the show.
yeah, thanks for having me, Jan.
You're welcome. Fascinating, fascinating documentary. So our guests know, our listeners and our viewers know, what is the man who saves the world all about?
Well, it's this really weird and bizarre story that is true, obviously, about a man who's kind of a spiritual outlier who finds himself in the middle of an ancient prophecy where these elders from the Amazon, uh, major tribes, come to him in India at a peace conference and say, that they think he's this guy in this prophecy they've had for hundreds of years who is going to come in a very dark time and help to unite the tribes of the Amazon and essentially restore it and save the earth. Uh, and so I kind of got swept up into this story and followed this man who's really fascinating guy and went down this rabbit hole of a story.
And how did you get attracted to it? How did the story even, how was it presented to you to begin with?
Well, I mean, it's a very hard story to kind of pitch or talk about because it's so bizarre. But essentially, a very reputable producer called me on the phone and said, there's this very strange story. I don't know why I thought of you, but would you be willing to get on the phone? He didn't say anything really about it because he kind of was tongue-tied, and I, I said, okay, I guess I'll get on the phone with these people, and it was Patrick and this other guy in the film, and they basically got into the story, and I thought they were kind of kooky and crazy because of what this story is. And I didn't really believe them, but something inside me kind of was at least open to kind of hearing more because it was so out there that I don't know. I was very curious, and slowly I started to learn a little bit more and a little bit more and do some due diligence and research and talk to these elders and I got invited to go down and visit these remote indigenous people in northern Colombia called the Tairona people, the Kogi, and they're very reclusive and sort of sacred people that are very respected. And so I decided, what do I have to lose at least to go down there invited and see what they have to say and learn something, and it just ended up being a really wild experience and an incredible story.
It really is a wild, incredible story. I can't imagine going through it as a participant in it. You chose to make yourself a participant in this documentary. Not every documentarian and puts themselves in the documentary itself. Why did you choose to do that?
Well, first of all, I've never really been a character in my documentaries. I've kind of been in the background and I never had a desire to be. With this story, because it was so, like keep saying the same thing, far out and it's so hard to believe that to tell it without my being a character would be nearly impossible. Everybody says this, like, can you imagine this film without me being a character? Everyone says no, and it's true. I mean, you can't t tell this in kind of a grounded way. I'm there as the skeptic. It's almost like a buddy story. There's comedy in it. There's comedy because, it's just me going through a lot of strange stuff and kind of going on this journey with Patrick McCollum. And as I'm going through it, the audience is going through it and they can kind of relate to it. And so it just had to be. I didn't do it, it gradually evolved that way. And, I had to kind of get over me feeling insecure, feeling like it's pretentious or whatever. I just kind of went with it after a while and just embraced it.
Well, there was a point that you ended up in the hospital nearly dying. Is that correct? And
Yeah, there
then,
was multiple times I only put one of them on camera because they're so similar. One of them I got kind of me and Patrick got poisoned. We got poisoned by this. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, by this so-called medicine. We ended up being throwing up for like 12 hours straight, and but the other time, yeah, it was an experience of being kind of overwhelmed with what I was seeing. It was almost like this psychic event that it got too overwhelming and I had to almost release, you know?
but you had in the research that I read that you were thinking that you weren't going to continue. That there was a
Yeah.
point where you just said, I'm not sure this is worth it, or whatever
Yeah.
you thought. And
Many times.
many times,
Many
okay,
times. Yeah.
many times.
Yeah.
And but this one in particular, and then you decided to proceed. What was that? What you said many times you thought about quitting. So what was it that was the impetus to keep you going on this journey?
Yeah. Well, first of all, my nature is when I start something, I have to finish it. I have that drive and sort of commitment to, if I have a vision and I get a little bit too far, in this case, with the shooting of it, I know that I could tell this story and weave it, even though I have no idea where it's going and it's so confusing. But I still had that sort of vision of the tone, and I knew that, look, if this prophecy is all kind of baloney and whatever, that I could still tell an incredible character study and a story that has tremendous meaning and dynamic, you know. Um, but the prophecy was unfolding. Um, and I just, even though I was tested kind of to the limit, and again, I say kind of on a spiritual level, because it's like, what am I doing? Where is this going? It's sort of facing the unknown, and we're all kind of afraid of that. Uh, that it kind of being, well, not only is it physically a little bit taxing and a little bit dangerous, but like I said, what if this goes nowhere? And it's a scary thing.
I think that's true for many
But I
documentary
just kept
filmmakers.
going. It's the same thing with anybody's journey. It gets really hard at times, and you can quit, or you could just keep going and see where it goes and hope that have faith in kind of yourself and also the universe that something is guiding this thing.
So what was your feeling? Because you went deep into the Amazon and you met with many of these tribes and went to a lot of ceremonies and whatnot. What was that for you? Was there anything when you went to that was changed you or felt like, internally that just experiencing those types of ceremonies and learning more about the different tribes in the Amazon that you had some spiritual awakening or some enlightenment? Was there anything like that that transformed you?
Yeah, well, I definitely have a lot of work to do and going deeper and really in my understanding, we all do. It's a mysterious place where we
It's
are here.
lifelong.
So
It's
yeah.
lifelong.
Yeah, so like, but it definitely opened me up to different ways of thinking and connecting to the earth and how these indigenous people think and when they basically grow up connecting to the earth, and it sounds cheesy, but in caves and really listening to things, listening to the river, the trees, and we don't do that in the Western world at all. We don't grow up that way, and they can hear things we don't hear. They can see things because they're paying attention and they're connecting, and obviously, and the way that they speak about things, you can ask them, like you see in the movie, a simple question, and they're thinking on many different levels at once. It doesn't, just because, let's say, they can't do an atom bomb or some high technology thing, they have other incredible abilities. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And they have a lot of wisdom from the earth. And so, yeah, I absorbed a lot of that. And it brought me into also the sort of world of plant medicine a little bit, and I have a deeper appreciation for that. Um, and just like every day with Patrick is like going to like the hardest college AP class, just because he's just like always has stories and a wealth of knowledge. It's just endless, you know. And so that was, you know, I'm still learning and I'm still processing this experience that I had. It was super layered, you know, and deep.
Hmm.
And I'm still digesting it. A lot of things in the movie I still don't know what to think exactly.
Well, that's one of the things that you have this major scene with Patrick, and it's quite, I thought that was really quite revealing about both of you. I think you know what I'm doing when you really confront him, and he confronts you. He really confronts you in this journey, and that was like a pip for me in the film. Was really a pivotal point. So, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to kind of ruin that part, but
No, I
basically,
don't want it to ruin it either. But if you can add some
I think
deeper
that this
enlightenment there.
story asks difficult questions, and it's one of the questions is like, what do we really believe in? You know, and what does it really look like when something special is happening? Does it need to be some kind of insane ceremony with thousands of people and or could it just be something really small or someone being alone in a room? I mean, look at I use this example, like what would it have looked like if when Jesus Christ was like talking to a few people, you know, or giving a little sermon? Did someone say, "Oh my God, this is changing the world. This guy is incredible." Probably not. They said this, what is he doing? Who is this guy?
You're right.
Right. And same thing with like, let's say Albert Einstein, him sitting in his room, you know, talking about these ideas and everyone thinking he's crazy or something, or just like a whack job, you know? So I kept thinking, well, what does it mean? What has to happen for this prophecy to be real? And it's really, again, not even about the prophecy. Like I said, it's about, you know, confronting your own belief system and conditioning, you know? And
Hmm.
I'm not even saying thinking, oh my God, you know, because really saving the Amazon, I mean, he's not. When are you going to see that? When is the Amazon quote unquote, it's done? It's a binary thing. It's saved. We're all good. Da, da, da. No, it's a constant process, you know? But in our Western world, we want
Immediate.
black and white
And
answers.
we want it immediate. That's what
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
instantaneous. We want
Well,
it
it's part of
immediate.
filmmaking. I mean, like, oh, what do people say? Oh, well, what does this film mean if there's no prophecy? Well, that's the problem with kind of our society a lot of times, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, but he did fulfill what he
Yeah.
said. I mean, he did. I
Well, see,
hope
now
I'm
you're
not
ruining
giving.
the movie, but no, no,
Okay, I won't.
I'm just joking.
But you went on this journey. You had no idea. You had no idea when you started this journey what was going to happen, how it was going to happen, if it was going to happen, all of the above. And then you took the leap of faith, and that's what documentary filmmakers do. But you really took a leap of faith with this film in particular, and decided to go for it. And the results are very. It's a fascinating documentary. Let me tell you this. Everybody, you should watch this, The Man Who Saves the World, because it is about belief. Bottom line underneath all of it is what we believe to be true. And
Yeah.
if we have enough belief, we can move mountains. We can make things happen. You know that what is it, this belief in this, the mustard seed, the seed of a mustard seed, you can move mountains or
Yeah.
whatever that quote is. It's along those lines. And that's what Patrick is. He believes. He knows. He has this
Yeah.
incredible life. And maybe you want to talk a little bit more
And
about
it's all the
Patrick.
story, you know.
Yeah.
if you don't believe the right story is the norm, then you're crazy. Literally, they'll put you in a mental institution. If you have but we believe in the story of science that's we're conditioned and because that's what we're told and you sort of want to be in the norm. You know what I'm saying? And then anything outside of that, you're like, wow, that guy's super. I don't want to talk to him. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do know what you're saying.
And these indigenous people would literally be, I mean, if they were walking on the street talking about spirits, they'd be institutionalized. But
Right,
that's normal for their culture, you know?
right, right. What I mean, there were a lot of things that were difficult for you in filming this, but at what point, and I think I already asked this question, but I'm going to ask it again, maybe in a different way. Did you did you finally just went, okay, I am in, I'm going to stay with this, not because you made the commitment to, but because you could have scrapped it, definitely could have
Yeah.
scrapped it. That you just said, I believe this story. I believe in what he's saying, or I believe in that we need to at least tell this story. What was that point? Where was that in the filmmaking process?
I don't think there was ever a point where I was totally comfortable making the film. You
Okay.
know, even to the very end, I was just like, wow, like how could I do this? You know, in a sense that it's how do I say? It's just again like it was just like a constant crisis in a strange way and but I did have this inner knowing about the value of this story, the value that it doesn't that this story has deep meaning and I know I can tell this story no matter what happens. And I guess that was the only thing that kept me going because I know that I can tell a really deep story no matter what happens because it's me, it's what I like, you
Mhm.
know? And so
Mhm.
that kept me going, but everything else made me really uncomfortable because it's such an unconventional story too, and there's a lot of risk in telling that unconventional stories, you know?
Yes, yes. How long did it take you to film this?
Well, that's always a tricky question with documentaries because normally, you know, the shooting doesn't take a lot of time because you're trying to compress everything, but it's more those spaces in between. It was 2.5 years roughly to make the film, but you know, I would take months off or, you
Right,
know,
right, right.
there was about 3 or 4 months where I was like, you know, considering abandoning it in the early stages, you know, I'd shot a bit of footage, you know. But yeah, that's what it was. So on and off. I
How
would
did
go because you see the story kind of, you know, okay, well, okay, what's next? What is
right,
next? And you kind of wait a few months or this, you know?
right, right. And it does go through different, phases throughout that. How did you attract Academy Award winning director, writer, producer Peter Farrelly to become your executive producer on this film?
So yeah, both Peter Farrelly and Danny McBride and David Gordon Green, they're all executive producers and it was a little serendipitous, kind of the universe doing its thing. I just both of those people they knew who I am because we'd met before, but just not friends at all. But I happened to just, you know, I run into Peter Farrelly outside of a movie theater, and then I said, "Oh yeah, I'd love to share this film with you." And eventually it led to him loving it and saying, "What can I do?" Da, 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 da. And I just thought these guys would be great to have on board. I respect what they've done in their careers, and I think their names can really make this uh, broader rather than just like a serious environmental film or something like that. Brings levity and brings more audience to this story, which I think we need because this story is like a messenger for them
Right.
for this message, you know.
At
And
this,
it's not like Leonardo DiCaprio who does every environmental film, and you know, it's a little bit different.
right. Right, right.
you know.
Yeah, it's very different for Peter, isn't it, to get involved with this kind of film. You what's happened to Patrick after this? How long ago did you finish this film?
I finished it about half a year ago, and he's been, traveling around with me as we release this film nationally, and he's doing great. His knee's still, he's had 8 knee operations in the last like year and a half, and his knee still has MRSA in it. So he's physically he's okay. He's alive, and um, but he's continuing to with the process of uniting the tribes and working with indigenous groups and tribes in the Amazon and also in North America, doing what he can to help them and unite them, I mean, he was asked to do this. It's not like he went and said, "Oh, I want to help." I mean, they came to him and said, "We need you." And he'll say himself, he's not the title says the man who saves the world question mark, but it's he he doesn't consider that he's saving the world or saving them. They're doing it. They just came to him to help get everyone together,
To facilitate
as
it.
a catalyst, yeah, as a connector, and strategist. That's the way he says it. So he's doing all right.
Good. What was the experience when you went to New Mexico, to his home in New Mexico? Because that kind of shifted the movie in a whole nother way at that stage. And you went through quite a few things there. So you want to talk a little bit about
Yeah, so
that?
in New Mexico, Patrick is still after I don't know how many years, but a lot of years, like building this insane kind of castle by himself, by his own hands. Only him and his son helps him a little bit. In the middle of nowhere in New Mexico, and he would always say, come out to the ranch. I'd love to have you there and whatever. So I went out there, and it was just yeah, really weird, uh, and.
To say the
It kind
least.
of tripped my circuits a little bit, and but we had it was a great part of the film where I was just like, wow, okay, this is far out, but it just shows you that like we're all life is a little messy, it doesn't so
Yes, it is.
you could still do great things, but he considers himself a very ordinary average guy. I don't necessarily think he's average because he's so fascinating.
Yes, he
He
is
talks
definitely.
about himself like that, and he thinks that anyone can help save the world. You just have to step into it, you know?
Well, each one of us have our own little mission. Each one of
Yeah.
us on our own, we
Yeah.
can touch people that are in our circle, the people we come in contact with. So yes, yes, he's right in that respect. What do you have yourself? What would you like people to walk away from after they see this film?
Well, I've been asked that question. I don't really want to do that and force people to think anything. I mean, like I say at the end of the movie, how you view this story is kind of who you are, and I think I I want everyone to kind of have their own because there's many things to learn from this film, and
Hmm. There
I
are
don't really have one thing. Uh, I do think that if my hope is that the film really connects with people and then they start to become part of the prophecy and share it with everybody, part of the movement, you know.
great, great
Yeah.
message. Just that enough. That's enough. I agree. Gabe, where can people see the man who saves the world?
Well, you're in New York, right?
No, I'm in Santa Barbara,
Oh,
California.
okay, okay.
Are you in New
Well, right
York?
now the film is being released in New York City this weekend and Sedona for the week. And then what
Great.
we're based the film will be released na is being released nationally all around the United States slowly and city by city, different cities in theaters. And so the website, themanwhosavestheworld.com or local listings. But yeah, we're taking this film everywhere. It's going to be in almost every major city, probably everyone.
Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful. Well, everyone, do seek out The Man Who Saves the World. It's a fascinating documentary, and it will, yeah, will touch your soul and lots of ideas that you may be able to do it. Just as you said, Gabe, is how we each have a part in maybe saving the world. So thank you so much for this lovely documentary, and I wish you much success with it. I look forward to
Thank
having
you.
you back on the show with your next project.
Thank you, Jan. Thanks for your support.
You're welcome. Thanks, Gabe.
Take care.
You too. Thank you.